This is a personal message for Mark Zuckerberg and a lot of other people in similar craniofacial situations. I think you need to hear these messages. The concept of craniofacial dystrophy is a culmination of 3 generations of my family. I think it's the direction which orthodontics is going in, against much resistance. And it relates to you and anyone with a similar craniofacial form. What I notice is this head tipped back position. I notice your neck is extended. I notice you've got this hooked Roman nose. The flat cheekbones here. The sloping forehead and effectively long face. Now, you could simply say that's genetic, and I'm sure you may see similarities within yours and in other people's families. Of course, I would counter that with, well, the evidence disagrees. And put the same people with the same genes in the same environment and you will get the same output. But science is about understanding the causes. It's not about make-believe. It's not about people's opinions. It's about facts. And the problem is, this has consequences. And to add that, I see this head posture. This forward head posture. Now, Obama's not perfect. He's got a longer face than ideal. But you've got this forward head posture, and other people are in similar situations. And the real, most pressing concern, of course, is OSA, obstructive sleep apnea. Now, this is when the tongue falls down into the airway during sleep. It's principally related to the facial form that you have, other people have, and I described before. And of course, sleep apnea tends to get worse as you get older. If you don't have sleep apnea now, my wondering would be if you're snoring now, because people who are snoring now usually go on to have sleep apnea later. And this is not because you're fat. You are not a fat, you're a fit man, and there's a big category of fit people who are getting sleep apnea, and I think this might be the underlying cause. Now, one of the most statistically significant determining factors or measurements that you can make in looking for sleep apnea is this distance from the insertion of genioglossus, that's the tongue, which is just the back edge in here of the mandible, back to the posterior pharyngeal wall, the back of your airway. And if that distance is decreased, you're more likely to have sleep apnea. And clearly that distance is decreased. Your face has dropped down and back at people in similar situations. Now, that's a fair comment, it's a fair observation. So, what of this? Well, I'd say there are several options you could take. You could ignore this. Don't take any notice at all. You've no need to. You could get a device if you do have snoring, as I suspect. You've got the various different, you've got these dental devices, you've got the expensive one or the cheap one, or they're basically doing this like similar, different styles doing the same type of thing. They'll hold the mouth forward. They're called mandibular advancement devices, MAD, MAD, and I usually say you'll be mad to have a MAD, because it's in a similar way to CPAP. They will in time push the top jaw back. These have a strap that goes around the back of the head. That's going to have a direct effect of pulling the top jaw backwards. These, well, Newton wasn't wrong. If they're going to pull the mandible forwards, they're going to pull the maxilla backwards. And of course the problem really is the maxilla's drop back. So these are all cases of treating the symptoms, worsening the underlying problem. It's not good. If you, almost everyone who has to go to one of these will get worse. That's not good. Well, you can have bimaxillary surgery, double jaw surgery. This, I guess, now is considered the gold standard care. It's where you're going to cut the top jaw, move it up and forward. You cut the bottom jaw, move it forward. In this case, someone's also had their chin move forward because that balances well. That is a great way of treating the condition you've got. You can see how the airway increases. Before I said it was this distance here, you can see how that distance here has been extended. It's a very, very effective way of treating sleep apnea and sleep disordered breathing in general. It's not without its dangers. Now, the alternative, come and see me or talk to me. I believe I'm getting the best facial changes in adults yet achieved. I'm almost certainly, in my opinion, getting the best facial changes, upswing in facial form in young children. I mean, my results appear to be outstanding. Yeah, they're outstanding. Now, my concern when I'm looking at this facial image here is the narrowness of your upper jaw. The amount of tongue space you've got is going to be greatly reduced, and that tongue has got to go somewhere, and it's you go back and occupy airway space. Now, I know you're familiar with the GOPEX concept. I know your wife's familiar with the GOPEX concept, this idea of trying to train young children to prevent them getting crooked teeth, and of course the other symptoms of craniofacial dystrophy. Now, should I be making this video? Is this rude to you? I'm not meaning to be rude. I'm a doctor. I'm here to help people. I'm here to make people better. And I think this is sound, sensible advice that you should hear. Of course, it's only advice. You don't need to do anything about it. Now, everyone else. Well, of course, we have the effort and the benefit ratio. Now, is it worth most people doing anything about this? Well, at the moment, it's almost too difficult for your average person to come and be treated by me. It's too hard work because I demand so much of an individual. And I think that balance isn't worth it for most average individuals, particularly who aren't really committed to working hard in their life. But I looked you up, and I looked at your earnings apparently in the last year. Well, if you earned £23 billion in the last year, what's a decade worth? Now, it's important to understand, I went to a conference, I presented in Philadelphia at a conference, it's now 2 years ago, the year's just gone. And I said to people that I thought that 10% of people over 60 in North America and probably Western Europe are going to die 10 years early because of sleep apnea and its consequences. And almost, in fact, every single person to a T that I said that to said, "Ooh, that's a bit optimistic, Michael. A bit conservative." Now, that means all of these doctors, all of these people in sleep medicine, they're easily admitting that 10% of the population are going to die 10 years early, and you are clearly in that category. And people with facial forms like that, clearly in that category. Now, what's that worth to you? Because I can promise, with a fraction of the investment you could make for the value it would give you, I could tip that scale. I could tip that scale for everyone else on that planet, on the planet, who are in similar situations or milder situations, who have other symptoms, and there are a lot of symptoms from craniofacial dystrophy. My concern is we live in this situation where, and this is a great phrase, people would rather hear a lie said by 1,000 people than the truth said by one. And to repeat a lie often enough and it becomes a truth. Apparently from Joseph Goebbels, it was given to me recently by Victor Galia on a comment on Facebook, YouTube. It's my opinion. That's what I think. And I think it's worth at least thinking about this.